is becoming hyper focused for signs, and the problem is the more we draw attention to something, or the more we focus on something, and this is you can check studies out on it, on visual hallucinations, but like the more we think about something, we can actually create imaginary data on it. So like false memories, creating narratives and creating outcomes, like, you know how like some, some women become highly obsessed with men and they've been cheated on in the past, so they like scour their phones, they monitor who they talk to, when they talk to them, where they go, and all of this, looking for a sign. And it's like, if you devote that much attention to anyone's life, you're going to find something that you don't agree with or you don't like, because sort of everyone has their own life that they're living, which is basically, everyone is just following what they think is enjoyable in life and what they think is an enjoyable life experience. And sort of like, enjoyment isn't something that's found in rationale. Like, we can't logically go 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and find that to be the most hilarious joke out there. Like, logically, those numbers make sense, but no combination is going to formulate humour, because humour is an illogical aspect. So which just means that it's not found in the conscious mind, it's found in the subconscious mind. So the only way to access it is through shutting off the conscious mind. So you ever notice how people are funnier when they're not trying to be funny, and when they're trying to be funny they become less funny, because it's sort of like it always feels forced. It's sort of like the same with wit, you know what I mean? Some people are naturally witty, and then some people are borderline arrogant with, how predominant they try and insert their wit. And it's a funny thing, because especially in Zen, it's sort of like the flows of life and situations, the push and pull. Sometimes in situations in life, we need to push really dominantly and really hardly to win and succeed. And then other times we need to pull back. And it's the balance between which gives that sense of that natural and authentic feeling to, comedy. Is that balance between that push and the pull of trying to make someone laugh but not trying to force someone to laugh. So it's sort of like some comedians are quite elaborate and funny, and then some comedians rely more on crude or, very polarized views to sort of make humor. And it's sort of like there is no right or wrong answer. Like, you know what I mean? If you wanted to do math comedy, like, that would be a form of comedy. You know what I mean? I don't know how logical it'd be. Like, I don't know if mathematicians would be down for it, but, you would be able to do that. So that's just an important thing to understand in life, is like, there is the logical aspect of life, and then there's the illogical aspect of life. And we tend to confuse these two. Like, for example, a relationship is an illogical aspect of life if it's based on love, because love isn't like conscious. It's not something that you just create. It's something that is there, like it's an energetic state. So it's sort of like it's illogical in the aspect of, sorry, I just saw a dead mouse. And it'd be awkward if like I just interrupted some snake in their meal, but silly him if he left it there. But you know, it's not logical, because when we go into relationships based on logic, they become very emotionless, because our conscious side of our brain doesn't have emotions. So like, you know what I mean? If our intention is only directed into our conscious thought, and we don't experience or, you know, process our emotions and allow ourselves to be emotional, well, we're only ever seeing the glass half full in life. Whereas if we embrace, you know, our conscious, our logic, our reason, but we also embrace our emotions and just accept that they aren't controlled by logic or reason. They're just an indicator of our subconscious frame of mind. So if I feel melancholy, you know, that's just my subconscious frame of, or my subconscious, like saying to me that something is missing. You know what I mean? And it's sort of like, you know how sometimes you just get melancholy for a destination or a location? Like, you know, maybe it's Greece, and you just want to be in Greece in the summer on the beach, you know what I mean? At the restaurants, eating all the amazing food. Like, whatever it may be. But you just get these sort of visualizations and visions of places that you'd wish to be. Woo. So, you know, it's one of those things where, like, that is your subconscious sort of saying that it wants to experience, you know, new, it wants to experience different. And like, you know, we can avoid it, or we can, you know, lean into it and go with it. You know what I mean? So like, when I avoid what I want in life, like, I become more stressed in life, because I don't feel like I'm doing what I want to do in life. I'm not following like what makes me happy in life. So for example, an easy way to see this is if you're someone who really enjoys social connection, like if you have to work, you know, let's say 6 months, and you can't interact with your friends, you know, for those 6 months because you're that busy and you're working every single day, it's sort of like your life becomes less fulfilling because you're not getting that social interaction and that fulfillment that you get out of it. Whereas some other people who don't, you know, so much get fulfillment from other people, like for them, that's just a natural way of life. But for a highly social person, that's sort of like such an empty existence. And that's an important thing, because we all want to believe that the way we view life is the right way, but in truth, all ways are the right way. You know, we're not saying that harming other people is okay, you know. Like when we're talking about ways of living, we're talking about ways of living that don't negatively impact those around us. So like, for example, if you wanted to smoke cigarettes, you know, you're not really negatively impacting other people around you. But then if you force people to be in a close proximity while you smoke, like for example in a car or something like that, like, you know, then you're sort of negatively impacting that other person's life if they don't enjoy that. Do you know what I mean? So like, it's important for us to be conscious of how our behaviors and actions impacts other people, because when we want to live a peaceful and happy life and a fulfilling life, well, we don't get that way by harming other people. Doing negative actions and harming other people take away from our inner peace and that value we feel within ourselves about who we are. So it's important to become aware of that, because it's not just the big things. Like, we don't walk around and bash people, you know, because that's just stupid. Like, why would you do that? But you know what I mean? But it's also like, well, we wouldn't want to go around and manipulate and lie to people and sort of be like a dodgy salesperson, you know what I mean? Like a scammer, because, you know, it has the same sort of social impact, in the sense of, you know, even though it's not a physical harm, you know, people perceive it as physical harm. So like, even, you know, lying to someone or telling someone white lies to spare their feelings, like, even though you're doing it with good intentions, you're still taking like an action that negatively harms someone. If they were to find out, you know, it negatively harms their ego, but also like their trust and all of that. So like, it's just important to understand that, you know, even the light negative actions that we think about in our day-to-day life of, you know, aggression, you know, maybe we are driving and someone doesn't indicate and then just slams on the brakes and turns. Like, you know, it's easy for us to be angry and volatile and want to, you know, kick their teeth in, but that sort of behaviour would create negative emotion within us that would lower the quality of life within us. So that's an important thing. If we want to live, you know, a high quality of life, well, we have to take high quality actions in terms of, we need to create environments that are positively reinforcing rather than negatively reinforcing. So they're reinforcing positive aspects of life and positive aspects of behavior and interaction, and they're limiting the negative, opposed to if we always focus on, you know, what's wrong in the world, and we're focusing on, like, you know, watching horror movies and watching violence and things like that. Like, we're creating an environment where our subconscious thought is predominantly thinking about negative things in life, or negative aspects of life, or negative emotions. So it makes us more volatile, because we're being conditioned to predominantly focusing on the negative aspects in life. So we see them more clearly and we see more of them, but we're limiting the positive. So it's sort of like, some people, like, you'll notice this in life, that some people, they're in that state of mind where they're just really negative people. And, you know, even if you went out and bought them a cake for their birthday, they would think you were a cunt for doing it. And just some people are like that. So, you know, like, if you force yourself to be in that environment of people behaving like that, even if you have good intentions, the likelihood that negativity will be the outcome is quite high, because it's sort of like, for them to think positively it sort of breaks their ego or breaks their world view. People aren't nice. People don't do nice things. You know what I mean? So like That's an important aspect, because a lot of us get into relationships, and I was really bad for this, with the intention of trying to help, other people. So, we're trying to lift people up, make them better. But the problem is that that sort of mindset is the wrong mindset, because it says who you were wasn't good enough, but who I can make you be is. So if you want to be good enough in life, you have to be the person that I want you to be. And it's very, very negative, because even though, it might be done from the best intentions, it really does have negative impact and negative repercussions, because it's sort of like that false sense of helping, where it's like, I'll help you be, better than you are now, but without me, you're not good enough on your own. So think about your work situations, employment, places that you've been employed and all of that. Like, how many bosses act like that? And then claim that it's, due to motivation, like they're trying to, make you more inspired to do better for them and work harder. And it's so funny, because a narcissist can never see. To see breaks their worldview and means that they're wrong and that they need to change. A narcissist will only change what they want to change, or what they need to change to get what they want. So it's sort of like, that's why if you've ever been in a toxic relationship, you can change for a short duration, but it's like, how long will it last? It's always, how long will the change last? The change is never permanent, and we get into these frames of thinking, we're sort of speaking into existence failure or quitting. You know what I mean? Where we're not actually committed to changing, we're just, committed to doing what's required to keep the status quo. And, to a narcissist, this is how they think. That, it's all about keeping the status quo of the balance of power, or the balance of outcomes, being predominantly in their favour, and any outcomes for the other party are within control of the narcissist. Because for them to have any form of relationship that isn't that, they're having to give away too much control. And, narcissism is a form of, control, in terms of it's controlling behaviour, but it's also it can be many things with many people as to why they become narcissistic, or why they hold narcissistic tendencies and traits. For some people, like my grandfather, it was just pure ignorance. He didn't give a fuck. If you thought he was the biggest piece of shit, he did not give a fuck. He didn't care. In his mind, he was the best thing since sliced bread, and anyone else's opinion was irrelevant because they were fucking idiots. You know, and then other people become narcissistic because of insecurities, where, you know, they have to overcome their insecurities, they have to be better than other people.